In the kill zone of Moipi's city, a massive dragon soars through the sky, attacking everything in its path. The local population flees in terror. The frontline fighters wonder why such a beast appeared so suddenly until one of them recognizes White Knight, the player who traversed the national border without assistance. Zichuan, the guild master of the Desolate Ghost Guild, reflects on how the gap in power is simply too vast, wondering if this represents the true capability of the Divine Dragon Empire's most powerful player. They recognize that Moipis cannot withstand the assault, as no one can believe an individual is capable of achieving this degree of devastation, yet that is exactly what is happening. The necromancer White Knight sits atop the dragon. He appears less like a player and more like a terrifying monster. White Knight commands his legion to move out, ordering them to devour everything and harvest even more power for him. Even now, his current strength is insufficient. He values the new life provided to him by the Myriad Worlds game and intends only to become stronger. He reflects on how he once possessed only one health point in a single year of lifespan, and though he stood at the edge of death, he managed to survive and advance to this very position. Months earlier on Blue Star, a girl began tampering with the medical devices while coldly telling him that if he dies, he should not come looking for her. And our boy Su Mubai immediately recognizes the voice of Liu Ruyan. He wonders why she is disconnecting the equipment when he has not yet passed away, especially considering she is his fiancée. Ruyan asserts that he is no different from a corpse anyway and claims she is doing this for his own benefit. Mubai finds the situation almost ironic, as he was previously the top gamer on Blue Star, a man controlling assets worth 1 trillion, but following a severe accident. He was reduced to a vegetative state where he hears everything while being unable to move even a finger, refusing to be resigned to this fate and wondering why his life turned out this way. Suddenly, Zhaosu, Mubai's university classmate, kicks open the door and asks Liu Ruyan why she is hesitating. Su sneers and asks if she actually developed feelings for Mubai and cannot complete the task, while Mubai is shocked and wonders why Zhaosu has appeared there. Su notes that Mubai's parents are both deceased, meaning that as soon as he dies, Ruyan becomes the legal heir to his billion-dollar legacy, which leads Mubai to finally understand the truth that the two of them are an adulterous couple. Su pulls Ruyan close and announces that 5 years ago, he personally sent her to Mubai's bed for this very purpose. Ruyan retorts that it was Su's incompetence in the car crash that forced them into this hassle since Mubai survived, while Mubai is filled with rage, thinking of them as animals and remembering how he treated them as family and a brother since university began. Su admits he did not expect Mubai to survive the crash but declares that even if God arrived, he could not save his life. Su then removes Mubai's oxygen mask and tells him to go die. Afterward, Zhaosu begins flirting with Liu Ruyan, but she tells him not to be so impatient and suggests they change rooms because performing such acts in front of a dying person feels like bad luck. Laughing, Su carries Ruyan away and promises to ravage her in a moment, while she playfully calls him a bad boy. Inside Mubai's mind, he remains aware even as his body fails, realizing that this adulterous couple had been plotting against him since the day they met, so he desperately commands his body to move, refusing to wait for death. He wonders if he is truly going to die and remains unresigned to this end. Suddenly, a colossal door manifests in the sky, and it congratulates Blue Star for being chosen to participate in the Myriad Worlds game. It announces that everyone will start from zero to begin a brand new life, and that mass transmigration will start in 30 seconds. Game-related data has been transmitted into the minds of every human, so please recall it yourselves. One person excitedly notes that the information is actually in their head, a woman nervously wonders what the game entails, and a man nearby comments that the wealthy and powerful should be the ones who are nervous because the game has no pay-to-win system. Back in the bedroom, Ruyan panics because she does not know how to play games and fears fighting alien races, while Su is enraged, shouting that he was about to become a billionaire and complaining that nothing from reality can be brought into the game. Ruyan mentions that as long as a person has a single breath left, they can enter the game, and she wonders if Su Mubai will be able to join. Su dismisses the idea, stating that even if Mubai lasts 30 seconds, his current physical condition would only make him a cripple in the game. As the timer hits 0, teleportation commences. Mubai survives the countdown and realizes this is a chance granted by heaven. He declares that he cannot die and will not give up. Streaks of light pull people toward the portal. While many scream in fear of leaving home, others celebrate the arrival of a new life. Su Mubai arrives at the Descender's temple. He realizes this is reality because he can finally stand on his own feet again. A system welcomes Blue Star players and begins a body data scan, identifying him as a Descender and asking him to confirm his name as he reflects on how good it feels to be alive. He selects the name White Knight. The system confirms the name and begins his talent awakening. All players receive a talent ranging from F rank to SSS rank. To rise powerfully, a strong talent is indispensable. Bai, now White Knight, hopes his luck is not poor. To his surprise, he successfully awakens the S-rank Forbidden Talent, Promotion, and he did not expect to gain such power. The talent has 3 effects. Promotion allows him to permanently promote any object by 1 tier with no consumption. Sublimation consumes resources to promote an object by 2 tiers. And Cataclysm consumes a specific amount of lifespan to promote an object by 3 tiers, and adds a Cataclysm characteristic, with the system noting that the first use of Cataclysm is consumption-free. When it comes time to select a class, he sees the categories of physical, magic, defense, and support, and wonders if he should be a warrior or a mage. However, the system detects that his initial attributes do not meet requirements and removes unselectable classes, leading him to ask what this means. The system reveals that based on his attributes, his only choice is Necromancer. It automatically completes the selection. He is annoyed that he was not given a chance to choose, but decides that Necromancer is not a bad option. Then he notices a major problem. His health points are permanently fixed at 1. He shouts, asking why he only has 1 drop of blood, meaning a single touch will kill him, and his remaining lifespan is only 1 year, wondering what use his S-rank talent is in this state. But since there is no way to retreat, he decides he will gamble. He realizes he can use his promotion talent on his own class. He uses Cataclysm to promote his class. The system warns that promoting the Necromancer by 3 tiers requires 100,000 years of lifespan, but fortunately, he still has 1 free use of the Cataclysm effect, and the system asks if he wants to use that. He confirms the choice. The system immediately congratulates him for changing to the exclusive hidden class, Death Sovereign. His attribute growth is modified so he gains 15 free attribute points every level. He learns the skills Lifelink and Summon Amplification while obtaining the item Book of Death. As his hidden class also gains the Cataclysm characteristic, Bai laughs, thinking the name Death Sovereign sounds domineering enough. The system warns that the game officially begins in 10 seconds, so please make preparations, as he realizes he spent too much time on his talent promotion and should have entered the game first. But he remembers Liu Ruyan and Zhao Su's faces and declares that he will find that adulterous couple and ensure they taste the flavor of despair. The countdown concludes within the Myriad Worlds game, where a system explains that every time a player dies, they will lose levels and 10% of their lifespan with a minimum of 10 years. However, under the Novice Village protection mechanism, player death only results in the loss of levels. The game welcomes Blue Star players and transports them to the Divine Dragon Empire, Novice Village number 9527, while the system sends a message wishing everyone safety for the journey ahead. Many players feel excited, laughing as they realize the fantasies they once read about in novels have finally come true, and they will definitely rise this time, with people immediately beginning to form groups like a priest looking for a B-rank talent mage for a party. Meanwhile, White Knight decides it is better to test his skill effects at the gate first. He summons a small skeleton, which is an F-rank level 1 active skill that summons a weak skeleton to fight for the player with a cast time of 3 seconds, a cooldown of 30 seconds, and a cost of 20 mana, with its stats being boosted by the player's spirit attribute. Next, he checks the skill Scorch, another F-rank level 1 active skill, and realizes he can release Soul Fire to scorch a target, dealing a total of 150% spell power magic damage over 5 seconds with an attack range of 30 meters, a 2-second cast time, and a 5-second cooldown. He reflects on having 2 F-rank skills, consisting of 1 summon and 1 attack. He also possesses Lifelink, an A-rank level 1 active skill that allows him to link a specific undead creature he summoned and share HP with it through an instant cast with a 10-second cooldown. Furthermore, he has Summon Amplification, an S-rank passive skill with no level that reduces summoning type skill cast time and cooldown by 50%, while increasing summon creature attributes to 500%. He thinks it is incredible to have an A-rank and an S-rank skill already, considering that since Lifelink allows him to share health with his summoned creatures, he will not need to worry about his own max HP. Unexpectedly, a glowing object appears before him. This is the Book of Death, a class-exclusive offhand item for White Knight that cannot drop, be damaged, or be traded. It is level 0 and follows the character, with its attributes unlocking after level 1 and special effects unlocking after level 10 as he learns exclusive skills from it. He notices the book currently does not have any stats and wonders if it only opens after level 10, but he decides to forget it for now and focus on his first summon, commanding his power to summon a skeleton. To his surprise, 2 skeletons emerge at once. A system notification chimes that the Cataclysm trait has been triggered. The system explains that the Cataclysm trait, which is the class talent of the Death Sovereign, will produce specific effects such as doubling all skill effects, though the second and third effects are currently locked due to his insufficient level. He observes that although two came out at once, they do not look very strong. Another player nearby notices the summoner type and is impressed, telling White Knight that his talent must be at least A rank and suggesting they team up. As the man mentions, he also has an A rank talent and believes they will definitely level up faster together. White Knight simply replies that he is sorry but likes grinding levels alone, leaving the man stunned, and as White Knight walks away, the stranger shouts for him to stop pretending and insults him, claiming a summoner type probably cannot even kill a free-range chicken. White Knight enters the woods and sees a group fighting, where a tank wonders why he chose his role because the chicken pecks so hard. A companion tells him to hurry and kill it. A mage sighs that he is worse than a level 1 chicken, and a frustrated player leaves for the village. The free-range chicken is level 1 with 100 HP, 10 attack, 5 physical defense, and 5 magic defense. As White Knight passes by with his summons, the players look on in envy, whispering that those two skeletons look very powerful and he must have awakened a good talent, while one teammate tells the others to stop envying and kill the chicken quickly. White Knight assures them he will not steal mobs from them, realizing that since he awakened such an overpowered class skill, he cannot just casually kill a chicken since it would be overkill. Suddenly, the bushes rustle and two creatures jump out. They are red-eyed rabbits, which are level 2 with 150 HP, 15 attack, 7 physical defense, and 7 magic defense. And as a warning note mentions they jump up to hit a man's junk, White Knight thinks that being rammed by this guy must hurt a lot. The rabbits strike the skeletons, dealing 13 and 15 damage. White Knight is glad he does not have to do it himself, and since no one else is here, he decides to summon a few more and let them test the firepower. He orders his skeletons to hack away with all their might. A skeleton slashes and kills a rabbit, and as the system announces he gained an extra 50% level gap bonus with 3 experience points, he thinks the speed is okay and he should hit level 1 very soon. He checks his character panel to see his health is still 1-1, but through lifelink, his skeletons have 400 HP and 393 HP, leaving White Knight amazed that the effects are doubled, and he is linked to 2 skeletons at once so he will not be one-shotted easily. To avoid attracting too much attention, he decides not to summon too many for now and thinks that 4 is enough to continue grinding. He sends the 4 skeletons to fight along the path. A nearby group of players is stunned, wondering if that person is a necromancer and if he is leveling up just by taking a walk. While a summoner compares those skeleton stats to his own, and another player estimates White Knight must have at least an S-rank talent. Suddenly, a golden light surrounds White Knight as the system congratulates him for reaching level 1, granting +1 to 4 attributes, +1 skill point, and 15 free attribute points, which makes him excited to finally level up. He looks at his panel to see he is level 1 with 1 point in Strength, Constitution, and Agility, and 10 points in Spirit, noting that summoned stats are affected by his Spirit. He decides to add 4 points to Agility to save his life and 11 points to Spirit. He then wonders if he can promote his skills since the class was promoted, and tells the system to promote them directly. The promotion is successful. His skill Summon Small Skeleton becomes E-rank Summon Skeleton, Scorch becomes E-rank, Lifelink evolves into S-rank Life Sharing, and his S-rank Summon Amplification is promoted to the SS-rank Death Conscription. The new Summon Skeleton is an E-rank level 1 active skill that summons a skeleton to fight with a 3-second cast time, 30-second cooldown, and 40 mana cost. The E-rank Scorch now deals a total of 200% spell power magic damage over 5 seconds with a 30-meter range. Life Sharing is now an S-rank passive skill that allows him to share HP with all summoned undead creatures one way, while Death Conscription is an SS-rank passive skill that reduces summoning cast times and cooldowns by 75% and doubles summoning space capacity. White Knight realizes Life Sharing is heaven-defying because passively sharing HP with all summons means his sub-HP bar is approaching 9,000 HP, and he also realizes Death Conscription means he can summon 20 skeleton soldiers. He declares there is no need to be too low-key anymore and plans to fill up the summon space to grind levels fiercely. He also decides to upgrade his exclusive equipment. The promotion is successful, and the Book of Death evolves into the Death Scripture, a class-exclusive special item that provides plus 15 spell power with more effects unlocking after level 10. He is slightly disappointed that it only increased spell power by 15 and decides to wait until level 10 as his level grinding officially begins. He tells his army to charge, noting that the more the merrier. He decides he wants to summon the full 20. Thanks to Death Conscription reducing the cooldown by 75% and the Cataclysm trait, summoning a skeleton now only takes 2 seconds. His legion attacks a level 3 Razorclaw Cat Demon, earning a 50% gap bonus and 5 experience. He finds the speed satisfying, and soon the system announces he has reached level 2, granting +1 to 4 attributes, +1 skill point, and 15 free attribute points. He orders his skeleton legion to continue grinding and charge forward. Half an hour later, White Knight arrives at a swirling red portal, which he identifies as the first dungeon, Mist Forest. A system tip appears, warning him that there are treasures in the forest, but it is also filled with crises, asking if he is sure he wants to challenge it alone, to which he confirms by jokingly asking if the system can see the bunch of lackeys behind him. The system then asks him to select the dungeon difficulty from easy, normal, hard, nightmare, or hell. Without hesitation, White Knight shouts hell level and steps into the portal. The system confirms he has chosen to enter the hell level Mist Forest. White Knight enters the hell level Mist Forest. He notes that the mist is quite thick and he cannot see the path clearly at all. He commands his minions to find a path and kill monsters. Fortunately, within a 100-meter range, he can control his summons at will. Otherwise, he reflects that he would actually be afraid of them getting lost in the fog. Soon, his skeletons find a monster, a Mist Tree Demon Elite, a level 8 creature with 3,600 HP, 74 attack, 60 physical defense, and 40 magic defense, possessing the skill Entangle. White Knight laughs, thinking it looks like they have finally found a target. He shouts for his minions to attack together, and the demon responds by activating its Entangle skill. Thick vines ensnare one skeleton and tear its arms apart. He observes that an elite monster's attack power is indeed not low, however. He declares it cannot stop the sheer number of his little brothers. He orders them to focus fire on it. Upon its death, the system announces he killed the level 8 elite monster Mist Tree Demon, obtaining an extra 50% level gap bonus and 60 experience points. He reflects that the Mist Forest is originally a level 5 dungeon, but the hell difficulty increased the monsters' levels by 3, and since they are all elite monsters, the experience is quite substantial. Suddenly, something catches his attention as a Mist Tree Python elite lunges from behind to sneak attack him. He quickly jumps aside to dodge the strike from this level 8 monster, which has 3,000 HP, 108 attack, 52 physical defense, 30 magic defense, and the skill Strangle. The system notes that these pythons specialize in wrapping their prey tightly. White Knight mocks the creature for trying to sneak attack him and vows to roast it for a meal as he lifts his staff to cast Scorch, dealing 98 and 101 damage. His skeletons roar and rush in to finish the job. The python quickly falls, and after killing the level 8 elite monster Mist Tree Python, he gains another 50% level gap bonus and 60 experience points. He considers that although his current spirit attribute is 3 times that of an ordinary necromancer, his spells still aren't as fierce as his skeleton little brothers, and equipment drops from the corpse. It is a tree python belt, a piece of level 5 black iron grade leather armor with 30 durability, 9 armor, and 2 constitution, and the system suggests imagining a giant python wrapped around his waist. Mubai sighs that it is a piece of leather armor and decides to keep it for now, as even if he cannot use it, it can still be sold for money. He commands his minions to continue moving forward. As they advance, more monsters lurk in the surrounding fog. He uses his power and tells the skeletons to start the harvest. His skeletons charge into the fray, attacking tree demons and pythons at the same time. The forest quickly turns into chaos. The system dings, congratulating White Knight for reaching level 5, which grants him 1 point and 4 attributes, 1 skill point, and 15 free attribute points. He laughs, celebrating that he finally leveled up and obtained black iron grade equipment including a wooden wand, a snake fang short dagger, and tree python leather armor, along with E-rank skill books for Entangle and Strangle. He thinks the wand seems usable for a bit, but nothing else is useful, so he decides to upgrade them later and sell them. He checks his attribute panel to see he is level 5 with 51 agility, 108 spirit, 1 HP mana at 6,480, and spell power at 409, with skills including E-rank summon skeleton and Scorch, S-rank life sharing, and SS-rank death conscription. He is equipped with the wooden wand and his class-exclusive death scripture, though his remaining lifespan is still less than 1 year, noting that the wand's stats are too poor and he needs to find a better weapon later. Suddenly, the death scripture levels up. It now provides 75 spell power and 25 to all attributes while also granting a 100% damage increase against undead creatures, an effect that his summons also receive, with special effects unlocking after level 10. White Knight is pleased, noting that he can learn exclusive death sovereign skills from the book once he meets the requirements. He calls for everyone to come out and get ready to work, and with his new equipment, he feels ready to challenge the boss. He tells his minions to go see the boss's strength. He encounters a silver-grade boss and 2 reinforced elites, thinking the hell level difficulty is indeed quite interesting. The Mist Tree Python King is a level 8 silver-grade boss with 88,000 HP, 327 attack, 136 physical defense, and 98 magic defense, flanked by 2 Mist Tree Python guards. Level 8 reinforced elites with 8,350 HP and 198 attack. White Knight notes the boss alone has over 80,000 HP plus 2 guards and wonders if the little brothers can hold out, but he decides to just attack directly and see. He commands his minions to charge. As skeletons and monsters fight, the Python King lunges and instantly kills one skeleton, which shocks White Knight as he realizes the attack power is indeed terrifying. However, he declares that even with high attack, the boss cannot withstand his skeleton C tactic. He orders them to slash fiercely. The skeleton army destroys the guards, and for each level 8 reinforced elite monster killed, he earns a 50% level gap bonus and 180 experience points. With the guards dealt with, he tells the little brothers to focus fire on the boss as he gathers energy in his hand to attack. But as it hits the Python King, nothing happens to it because the attack was weak, and the Python King becomes even angrier. White Knight wonders if his own damage is a bit shameful. The Python King roars in anger and bites down, killing another skeleton. White Knight shouts as he sees his summons falling. He wonders if it is about to use its ultimate move. The boss spits out green venom directly toward him. White Knight is surprised that the boss has such a high IQ and came straight for him. The poison hits him directly, but he chuckles, reflecting that he has life sharing, which makes his HP bar's upper limit over 100,000, and asks the boss how its little damage could possibly hurt him. He charges forward and casts Scorch. His army continues their relentless assault until the massive creature finally collapses. He receives an extra 50% experience bonus for killing the level 8 silver-grade boss Mist Tree Python King, totaling 14,400 experience points. Mubai cheers that the first kill was easily secured. The system dings, congratulating White Knight for becoming the first player in Novice Village number 9527 to solo kill a boss, granting him 1 basic life soul stone and 1 gold coin, while another notification follows, congratulating him for being the first to solo kill a silver-grade boss, and rewarding him with 5 basic life soul stones and 5 gold coins. The system issues a notification throughout Novice Village number 9527, announcing that White Knight has become the first player to solo kill a silver-grade boss. The message encourages all players to learn from him so they may also obtain rich rewards, though the local players find this news difficult to believe. Some express curiosity regarding who White Knight is and what kind of freakish talent he awakened, assuming his talent must be at least S rank or possibly even SS rank, as they argue it is absolutely impossible to solo kill a silver-grade boss so quickly otherwise. One player is filled with rage at the massive gap between people, while another complains that the Myriad Worlds game is too unbalanced. He says they barely struggled to kill a small mob while this person is already solo killing bosses, and another player sighs, admitting he did not expect to be cannon fodder after transmigrating. In another part of the woods, a woman realizes that solo killing a boss triggers a system announcement, and reflects that if she had known, she would have let Maple Leaf Xiaoxiao solo kill that black iron grade boss himself. Maple Leaf Xiaoxiao tells her it does not matter and notes that there will be opportunities later. Xiaoxiao admits that White Knight is stronger than him and acknowledges that he is no match for a silver grade boss right now. The woman, Wealthy World, points out that Xiaoxiao already awakened an S-rank talent, yet White Knight is still stronger, wondering if White Knight's talent is actually SS rank, which Xiaoxiao thinks is very likely. Awe, the team's tank, suggests that they try inviting him, while Cotton Candy, a mage with the appearance of a small child, notes that an SS rank talent is too strong and wonders if he would even agree to join them. Wealthy World declares she will try anyway, nodding there has not been a man yet who could refuse her invitation. Meanwhile, White Knight is suddenly bombarded with friend requests and wonders why so many of them popped up all of a sudden. He decides he does not have time to deal with them all and rejects them. He then examines a basic life soul stone, a special item that increases lifespan by 30 days upon absorption, though upon death, he would lose 1/10 of his lifespan with a minimum loss of 3 days, making him wonder if this is an item that can actually increase lifespan. He decides to promote those stones first, and upon doing so, he obtains an intermediate life soul stone, a special item that increases lifespan by 120 days. He would lose 1/10 of that life with a minimum loss of 12 days, but he laughs, realizing the promotion actually worked. He calculates that 6 intermediate life soul stones equal almost 2 years of life, thinking this joy of getting things for free is simply addictive, and deciding he needs to get more life soul stones. He looks at 2 skill books he received but realizes neither is for his use, and as he checks other equipment pieces, he notes that only the poison ring is somewhat useful, so he decides to promote it. The promotion is successful, and he obtains a venomous ring, a gold-grade accessory with 100 durability that provides 30 spell power, 10 agility, and 10 spirit. Magic skills now have a certain chance to inflict 150 poison damage, triggering at most once every 10 seconds, and he reflects that magic with a poison attribute is not bad, for if his attack is not enough, the poison will make up for it. White Knight then notices that many of his skeletons died just fighting a beginner boss, and realizes these skeletons are not strong enough. Now that he has gold coins, he decides he should now sublimate the summon skeleton skill again. He brings up the skill menu, which offers to promote to Tier 1, sublimate to Tier 2, or cataclysm to Tier 3, and he chooses to sublimate. The system asks him to confirm the consumption of 5 gold coins to overwrite the previous promotion effects. He thinks 5 gold coins is really expensive, but he tells himself that money used can be earned again and orders the system to sublimate for him. The system announces that his F-rank skill, Summon Small Skeleton, has been successfully sublimated into the D-rank skill, Summon Skeleton Soldier. This D-rank level 6 active skill allows him to summon a skeleton warrior or skeleton archer to fight, featuring a 3-second cast time, a 30-second cooldown, and a cost of 200 mana points, with stats boosted by the player's spirit attribute. He is very pleased with the skeleton archer and thinks those 5 gold coins were well spent, so he summons his new minions, calling them little cuties. The skeleton archer has 637 strength, constitution, and agility, possessing 6,370 HP and 764 attack with 319 physical defense. Its skill is Double Shot, an E-rank level 6 skill that instantly fires 2 arrows to deal 90% physical damage each with a 30-second cooldown. And he notes that since it converted to the archer class, its agility bonus is significantly increased. Meanwhile, the skeleton warrior also has 637 strength, constitution, and agility, 7,644 HP, and 956 attack with 319 physical defense. Its skill is Heavy Strike, an E-rank level 6 skill that deals 175% physical damage with a 30-second cooldown, as its strength bonus is significantly increased due to the warrior class conversion. White Knight thinks these stats are finally decent, and his Scourge army finally looks the part, so he orders his minions to continue exploring for him. As they scatter, they encounter a Goblin Elite, a level 8 monster with 2,800 HP, 96 attack, 58 physical defense, and 45 magic defense. It possesses the skill Throw, so he orders his ranged units to focus fire on one first. Arrows strike the goblin's head, killing it instantly. He receives an extra 50% experience bonus and 60 experience points, noting that his speed has indeed increased a lot and realizing he needs to switch to a higher level area to farm monsters. Back in the village, players are recruiting for squads requiring A-rank talents or above. A man suddenly announces that he is preparing to establish the Hegemony Guild and asks if anyone wants to join, but other players mock him, asking who he is to recruit people right after entering the game and if he is actually awesome. The man reveals his S-rank exclusive talent skill called Born Leader, which allows him to establish a guild for free, granting members a 20% experience bonus, 20% monster drop bonus, and a 20% attack and spell power bonus. He explains that the stronger the guild's overall strength, the greater the boost. The players are shocked and immediately begin pleading to join him one by one. Their excitement is interrupted by a server-wide pinned message from Wealthy World, who sends a message to White Knight asking him to accept her friend request to discuss important matters. The players are stunned that someone spent 10 gold coins to send a message. One player grumbles that he killed dozens of monsters and does not even have 100 copper coins, while this spendthrift used 10 gold. And the man with the guild wonders where Wealthy World got so many gold coins and how strong White Knight really is. White Knight sees the message and notes that using 10 gold coins to find him makes her truly filthy rich, so he decides to go meet her. After they become friends, Wealthy World asks if he is interested in joining her team. She offers to cover all equipment and skills while giving him 100 gold coins as a one-time payment, leaving White Knight amazed that she has 100 gold coins right after leaving the novice village. He asks her why he should trust her. Wealthy World replies that money is just a number to her and offers to let him sign a contract, saying that he can look at her SSS rank exclusive talent skill called God of Wealth. White Knight checks it. Its first effect is Money Tree, allowing her to shake the tree once a day to obtain 1 to 999 gold coins and a chance for special treasures. The second effect is Wealth Rolls In, which increases the currency she carries by 1% daily. And finally, Income Only No Outgo ensures she will not drop any gold coins or items upon death. Seeing this, he thinks this God of Wealth talent is a bit too heaven-defying. White Knight reflects that with the SSS rank God of Wealth talent, making currency would be as effortless as lying down and printing gold. Yet he considers that teaming up would be overly troublesome and increase the risk of his secrets being exposed. He decides it is safer to level up alone during these early stages and informs Wealthy World that he prefers to act alone. Wealthy World is offended that he dares to refuse her. Maple Leaf asks if he declined to join them, and she confirms he prefers to go solo, prompting Awe to suggest they forget him since they can grind monsters themselves, while Cotton Candy notes that without superior equipment, their progress will be significantly slower. Then Wealthy World notices that White Knight has sent another message. He asks if she is interested in making a trade, and when she asks for details, he explains he has unused equipment and skill books her team needs, causing her to demand the price and offer to buy everything. He states the value is greater than she can imagine and promises to notify her once his business is concluded. To which Wealthy World agrees to await his notification and tells Maple Leaf he will have top-tier gear soon, while Aoi is pleased, nodding that powerful gear will boost their grinding speed. The party encounters a wild boar leader, a level 5 bronze-grade boss with 23,800 health and 205 attack, whose skills include Tear, Barbaric Charge, and Wild Trample. Wealthy World asks Maple Leaf if he is confident in soloing it, and he says it will be no problem. She orders everyone to give their life recovery potions to him and instructs him to leave the party to secure the system announcement. Aoi is tasked with guarding the area to ensure no one disturbs the fight. Maple Leaf charges in. The boar deals 986 damage, but he suddenly jumps and attacks the monster from behind. The wild boar leader swings his weapon, but Maple Leaf dodges the strike, nodding that it is strong but lacks speed. Wealthy World reflects that with his combat experience, solo killing the boss should not be a problem. Meanwhile, White Knight defeats a level 8 silver-grade boss, the Goblin Leader, gaining a 50% experience bonus and 14,400 points. As having a legion of lackeys makes moving through the mist forest effortless, and the system announces he has reached level 6, granting 1 point to all attributes and 15 free points. He notes that picking up loot is a bit tiring. He finds a reinforced bone shield but considers it useless with his life diversion skill. And he also finds a mist cloak, a level 5 gold-grade item that lowers aggro, though he thinks it is too ugly even though it provides 28 physical defense and 20 magic defense. He then finds a leader's emblem, a level 5 gold-grade accessory that adds 200 health, 400 mana, and a 5% spell critical chance, granting a buff that increases spirit by 20 for 10 seconds on critical hits. He decides to put it on first. Suddenly, an injured skeleton returns to White Knight, and he wonders what is happening as it has lost so much health instantly. Someone from the jungle demands to know why a bunch of bones are in his territory. A hidden plot is triggered as the system announces the large number of skeleton soldiers caused the Goblin King to recall long-buried memories. Sending the king into a state of madness where all attributes increase by 50%, the dungeon exit is sealed, and he can only leave by killing the king within 2 minutes. He prepares his skeletons, wondering what kind of character this monster is. Suddenly, a large goblin appears and smashes the injured skeleton that was returning. It is the Goblin King Rigu, a level 8 gold-grade boss in a madness state with 327,000 health and 843 attack, possessing skills like Thunder Strike, Trample, Heroic Leap, Summon Goblin Warrior, and Berserk. White Knight notes that killing it in 2 minutes is difficult given it has over 300,000 HP, but he believes his many lackeys can handle it as the skeletons charge forward. They all start attacking together and begin doing damage to Rigu. But Rigu snarls that the scent of filthy, rotting bones makes him want to vomit and attacks, destroying many skeletons. White Knight observes that the damage is high enough to instantly kill a normal level 5 player. He declares it is too bad for the boss that it had run into him. The Goblin King growled in annoyance when it realized that he had tried to sneak up on it. Meanwhile, the skeleton archer continued firing arrows and dealing steady damage. The Goblin King finally decided to target the archer, which was exactly what White Knight wanted. Finally, the Goblin King had enough and summoned the warriors of its race, ordering them to smash those filthy bones into fragments for their king. Goblin warriors began pouring out of a portal. These warriors are also in a madness state, having 13,500 health and 279 attack, and their skill is Powerful Strike. White Knight realizes this is becoming a bit tricky. Rigu grows furious at the necromancer standing before him and declares that he has already taken his clansmen and hidden them in the mist forest, demanding to know why White Knight will not let him go. Rigu roars for his warriors to crush them as he uses Heroic Leap to slam into the ground, creating a powerful shock wave that craters the earth while White Knight manages to step aside just in time. But he notes that the hit still hurt quite a bit, and realizes that it is a good thing he is sharing health with his minions to make the damage less dangerous. He summons more skeletons and orders a quick fight to finish those small ones first. The skeletons rush forward and begin cutting down goblin warriors. He then commands the archer skeletons to shoot. Rigu watches as more of his army falls and cries out in denial. Rigu roars that this king will absolutely not become a slave again and will not be defeated. At that moment, Rigu enters a berserk state, and the system reveals that his attack power and speed have increased by 50%, while both his physical and magic defenses have decreased by 50%. White Knight simply looks at the raging boss and declares that he is a noob talking too much nonsense. Suddenly, a system announcement rings out, stating that Maple Leaf Xiaoxiao has become the first player to solo kill a bronze-grade boss, making him realize the first kill announcement has been stolen. but he decides to forget it because he cannot lose the big picture for small gains and launches his attack. He orders all his skeletons to attack and charge. The skeletons cut down all the goblin warriors and the boss is killed by White Knight's attack. The overwhelming numbers finally bring the boss down. The system announces that White Knight killed the level 8 gold grade boss Ragu, granting a 50% experience bonus for 43,200 points as he reaches level 7. Gaining attribute and skill points while being rewarded with 12 basic life soul stones and 12 gold coins, noting the extra rewards for soloing a gold grade boss. He looks around and wonders why there are no drops, considering if it could be related to a hidden plot. Meanwhile, a man wearing full armor has just obtained a treasure and laughs, declaring it increases lifespan while his guild members flatter him as the #1 expert in Novice Village, number 9527. When the announcement for Maple Leaf Xiaoxiao appears, one member claims he is just lucky and decides to find a gold boss, making the guild master wonder if they think he can kill anything. Right then, another announcement appears stating White Knight solo killed a gold grade boss. The man in armor wonders what kind of talent White Knight actually awakened and if it could be SSS rank. On the other side of the forest, Maple Leaf comments that this person's strength is truly terrifying. Wealthy World tells him it is fine and that the Myriad Worlds game has just begun, so there is plenty of time to catch up, reminding him that she is there. Maple Leaf then tells the group it is time to go see the first dungeon. Back with White Knight, a system notifies him that because he killed Ragu within 2 minutes, he successfully triggered the hidden plot Ragu's Nightmare, which increases the Mist Forest dungeon difficulty to disaster grade. Suddenly, a thick mist flows out of the boss's mouth. He wonders what the situation is and what is going on. The mist shows visions of goblins living until they are imprisoned and burned alive, a scene he finds tragic. He then recognizes the small skeleton he summoned at the very beginning appearing in the vision. He realizes the small skeleton was once a goblin when he was alive. Ragu's body begins glowing and transforms into Skeleton King Ragu, a level 10 dark gold grade boss in an insane state with 1,800,000 health, 4,215 attack power, 780 physical defense, and 675 magic defense, possessing a wide array of deadly skills as one of the most successful works of ancient necromancers. Ragu reflects that in the end he could not escape the fate of becoming undead. Ragu calls for his warriors to fight for him as their souls form his blade. White Knight stares at the monster and wonders if this is something that can even appear in a novice village. Ragu unleashes lightning and his own summons appear, including level 10 skeleton warriors, mages, and archers with enhanced stats and skills boosted by the Aura of the Dead, which increases attributes by 20%. He notes their combat power is catching up to his minions as Ragu points his sword at White Knight and declares that all enemies will become undead just like them. White Knight wonders if the system is serious and asks how they can fight when the attack power is so high. A system announces that Ragu's nightmare has officially started, disabling protection and warning that if White Knight dies, he will lose a minimum of 10 years of his lifespan, making him wonder if his journey is ending here. Ragu unleashes Thunder Heavy Strike, dealing massive damage of 9527, 10,086, and 10,010 to White Knight's skeletons. White Knight curses the situation and blocks the thunder attack. He then commands his little skeletons to aim at the scums and fire. White Knight realizes that with his current mana pool, he is limited to summoning 20 skeleton warriors, but he considers that this will be insufficient because the enemy's defense is far too high. He reflects on the need to upgrade the skill to another tier, and since no safe option remains, he decides to risk everything by planning to consume the stones first to determine how much lifespan the Cataclysm promotion requires. He successfully absorbs 15 intermediate life soul stones, resulting in a system notification stating his lifespan is now less than 6 years, while the system clarify that once the skill undergoes Cataclysm to C rank, 3 branches will appear: Summon Skeleton Warrior, Summon Skeleton Archer, and Summon Skeleton Mage, asking him to select the direction. He selects the Skeleton Warrior as the safest bet due to their ample HP. The system informs him that he has lost 5 years of lifespan, and his F-rank skill, Summon Small Skeleton, has successfully mutated into the C-rank skill. Summon Skeleton Warrior, a level 8 active skill with a 3-second cast time, a 30-second cooldown, a 300 mana cost, and a terrifying mutation bonus where attack power is increased to 100% and max HP to 500%, making him wonder if such a bonus is even reasonable. White Knight declares that he can summon Skeleton Warriors as well and wants to see who has more. He summons them to match the forces of Skeleton King Ragu, with each warrior possessing 930 strength, constitution, and agility, 69,750 HP, 3,720 attack power, 930 physical defense, and the level 8 heavy strike skill, which deals 185% physical damage, as the mutation bonuses significantly boost all attribute gains. The Skeleton Warriors charge as White Knight laughs and tells them to kill that guy, while Skeleton King Ragu commands his own minions to hold the line. White Knight's skeletons begin dealing steady damage, and he continues to summon more in pairs, declaring that the more the merrier. Skeleton King Ragu enters a berserk state, increasing his attack power and speed by 50% while both defenses are reduced by 50%. White Knight smirks, nodding that Ragu is simply accelerating his own death, and orders his skeletons to focus their fire in one last wave. Skeleton King Ragu's health is depleted, yet he remains unwilling to be defeated even as he falls. The system announces that White Knight killed the level 10 Dark Gold grade boss, Skeleton King Ragu, earning an extra 50% experience bonus and 270,000 points, which pushes White Knight to level 8 and grants him attribute and skill points. He realizes the massive experience gain will boost him to level 9 immediately, and the system confirms he is the first player in Novice Village number 9527 to solo kill a Dark Gold grade boss, rewarding him with 40 Intermediate Life Soul Stones and 60 gold coins. Another announcement congratulates White Knight for achieving the first clear of the Mist Forest in Novice Village number 9527, rewarding him with 5 random level 1 attribute gems and 5 gold coins. White Knight calculates that after this tier of free cataclysm, he has spent over 13 years of his lifespan. He then receives 20 Intermediate Life Soul Stones and 20 gold coins for the first clear of the Hell level difficulty. He frowns, nodding that what he cleared was obviously disaster level. At the Mist Forest entrance, Hontu continues recruiting for his hegemony guild. A group of players approaches, and everyone notices they are wearing full sets of equipment, which makes the identification of Wealthy World as the leader a surprise to no one. Players wonder how much her level 5 equipment cost and just how rich she truly is. Hontu tells Wealthy World that he has heard a lot about her, and Wealthy World politely replies that she is far inferior to Hontu's widespread fame. He suggests they make a bet, and she asks what he wants to bet on. He proposes a bet on who can take the first clear of the Mist Forest, and she asks what the stakes are. Hontu declares that his talent and her financial power are a match made in heaven, proposing that if he takes the first clear, her team must join his hegemony guild. Wealthy World asks what happens if they clear it first, and Hontu says his guild will help them with one thing using all their strength, but she demands 3 things instead. Hontu laughs and agrees to the deal. Immediately after the deal is made, a server notification announces that White Knight has taken the first clear of the Mist Forest. Hontu is stunned and realizes that White Knight has made his bet look like a joke. He tells her that since the normal difficulty clear is gone, they should aim for hard mode. However, a sequence of announcements follows as White Knight secures the first clear of Hell difficulty, solo kills a Dark Gold grade boss, and is finally congratulated by a Blue Star Zone announcement for being the first player in the entire zone to solo clear a disaster-level dungeon. Hontu declares this is outrageous and leads his team into the portal. Cotton Candy asks if they are going in, but Wealthy World says there is no rush since the first clear is already gone. In Novice Village number 8888, 3-foot Sword Edge fights a Goblin King and wonders what kind of talent White Knight awakened, nodding he has fought for a long time and still hasn't taken it down. In Novice Village number 9526, Zhao Su comments that the name White Knight feels familiar. Su asks Ruyan if it was someone who courted her before, and she asks if Zhao Su wants to give her away again. Su tells Ruyan not to feel aggrieved, reminding her of the years of glory and wealth she enjoyed with Su Mubai, and he claims that without the Myriad Worlds game, he would have reached the peak of life by now, while Ruyan says White Knight reminds her of someone. Suddenly, she panics and realizes that Su Mubai always used that name in games. Zhao Su says that is impossible because Su Mubai should be dead after he pulled the plug himself, so Su dismisses it as a coincidence. But he suggests that if it really is that kid, it saves them trouble because Ruyan can just seduce him one more time. And though Ruyan finds this annoying, she reflects that with her charm, she does not care who White Knight is. The system congratulates White Knight for being the first individual in the Blue Star Zone to solo clear a disaster-level dungeon, awarding him an S-rank skill book and a piece of epic equipment. He reflects on how generous the rewards are for such a challenge, realizing that even with his limitation, he can now effectively summon an entire blood bank. He activates the backpack button on his interface, which triggers the Siphon skill, allowing him to harvest death energy from up to 5 bodies within 50 meters with no cost and a 30-second cooldown. The feedback skill instantly restores his health or mana or strengthens a summon, using death energy to boost a target's main attribute by 0.5% or restore 100 points per unit. He realizes he will never have to worry about mana consumption again. Currently, White Knight can only select the free promotion option, leading the system to confirm the cost-free advancement of the skill book, Death Siphon Feedback, to Tier 1. He decides to test it out immediately and successfully siphons 320 death energy from the remains of the Dark Gold boss, Skeleton King Ragu, though the system warns him his storage has already reached its limit. He is surprised by the massive energy yield and guesses it is because the boss was originally an undead creature, making the death energy within much richer. He also receives an item called the Whisper of the Dead Robe, a piece of cloth armor that scales from level 10 up to level 60, improving its potential every 5 levels. He suspects this might be the first epic equipment in the entire Blue Star Zone, but since appraisal fees are never cheap, he decides to keep it in his inventory for now. White Knight realizes he should search the remains of Skeleton King Ragu further to see what else has dropped. He plans to pack everything to sell to Wealthy World later, reflecting that since he technically killed the boss twice, he expects a significant amount of loot. Suddenly, a massive explosion of items appears, including 10 gold coins, 38 silver coins, multiple attribute gems, gold-grade gear, and a variety of C-rank and B-rank skill books. Since he already possesses the 3 basic skeleton summoning books, the system asks if he wishes to fuse them into a new skill called Summon Advanced Skeleton, much to his surprise. He proceeds with the fusion and learns the new C-rank skill Summon Advanced Skeleton, which allows him to summon a champion, archer, or mage to fight for him. He guesses the locked traits are reserved for the skeleton archer and mage, meaning the skill will require another promotion to unlock them. The system then prompts him to select a promotion tier, and he chooses the direct, cost-free B-rank advancement, though the mana cost for his summons now rises to 1,000. A blue orb suddenly appears and White Knight wonders what it is. The system asks if he wants to accept Hale's legacy, an epic grade quest that would partially unseal Hale's crystal ball as his equipment or leave it to find another destined person. He considers whether the quest item itself can be promoted and decides to try. The system then asks if he wants to accept Dylan's Sorrow, a legendary grade quest with a difficulty beyond imagination, which he accepts despite the requirement to reach level 30 within 1 month. The item will reveal its true name after being fully unsealed, providing massive spell power and a 30% critical rate boost, though its final abilities remain unknown for now. White Knight mentally notes how strong the spell critical bonus is. He reflects that the harvest this time has gone far beyond his expectations. With everything collected, he sets off to meet Wealthy World. At the entrance of the dungeon, Cotton Candy asks Wealthy World when they are going in, nodding that the sun is setting and hegemony entered ages ago. Wealthy World replies that they should wait a bit longer. White Knight finally emerges and she greets him immediately. White Knight is surprised that they are actually waiting for him. Wealthy World asks if he has brought the items and wonders if they should change locations for the trade, but he tells her there is no need. White Knight then summons his skeletons, which instantly spooks the onlookers. Wealthy World remarks that his strength is truly terrifying, already certain in her mind that he must be an SSS-ranked talent player. He mentions that he has a lot of items and asks if she can really buy the whole batch alone, and she confidently assures him it will be no problem. White Knight begins displaying the items and everyone is stunned, especially Cotton Candy, who is thrilled to see so many rare D-rank skill books. Wealthy World tells White Knight to name his price and she will buy it all, so he lists the rates for his black iron gear, bronze gear, and skill books. She agrees and immediately pays the coins. After that, she asks him to bring out the real good stuff, and he calmly confirms he has it, but he displays the gold-grade equipment, a C-rank skill book, and other high-quality items. White Knight points out that her money might not be enough, but since they can sign a system trade contract, he is willing to let her settle the balance tomorrow. Since he is being so straightforward, Wealthy World decides not to be pretentious and asks him to name the total price. The Resurrection skill book in his hand alone is worth 500 gold coins, as it allows a priest to revive players while reducing death penalties. Cotton Candy is overjoyed when she sees the resurrection skill. Wealthy World agrees to the deal and promises to pay the remaining gold tomorrow. White Knight reflects that the first effect of the God of Wealth talent allows her to shake the money tree once a day for up to 999 gold coins. He thinks her certainty comes from the confidence given by her talent's other 2 effects. He also recalls that their first kill of a bronze-grade boss rewarded them with 2 life soul stones. He asks if they want to make another deal. He guarantees he can help them take the first clear of the nightmare difficulty Mist Forest and gain the strength to grind the hell level. However, his condition is that he wants the life soul stones from the Mist Forest first clear along with the ones they currently possess. Wealthy World and Maple Leaf Xiaxio agree to the deal. In the dungeon, while everyone else is fighting, Mubai is resting and receiving notifications about monsters being killed and the experience he has earned. He reflects that even with only 1 drop of blood, life is still sweet and his leveling speed is not delayed. The system notifies him that he has reached level 9, gaining attribute points and skill points, while White Knight wonders where the appraiser has gone. He has traveled all this way to find the man to identify his equipment, yet he cannot even find a shadow of him. He does not understand why a perfectly functional appraiser loves painting so much, running to the grasslands to sketch scenery instead of working. Suddenly, the system notifies him that his skeleton champion has died, triggering the Cataclysm trait to resurrect it with full status in the summoned space. White Knight is shocked because the skeleton champion possessed nearly 150,000 health points, yet it was killed instantly, making him wonder if the appraiser was responsible. If he had known an NPC was capable of such power, he would have definitely preserved more of his lifespan earlier. White Knight is inspecting the area below the cliff, but as he does, someone suddenly materializes behind him. That person observes that the boy is not bad for being able to summon so many piles of broken bones. He immediately notices the terrifying speed of Huai Jian, the appraiser and painter of Novice Village number 9527, whose level and health remain unknown. Jian remarks that he was in a rare good mood to come out and sketch from nature, yet his peace was ruined by the kid's pile of broken bones. Jian demands that the boy speak and asks how he intends to compensate him. White Knight presents some money in a pouch and nervously asks if paying money would be acceptable. Jian takes the pouch but asks if it looks like he lacks money. Still, Huai Jian asserts that he is not an unreasonable person. He declares that he will charge 100 gold coins and that White Knight should take the painting he created. Jian tells him that his work is not something just anyone can obtain and that he should be secretly rejoicing. White Knight opens the scroll and mentally notes that even a 3-year-old draws better than the appraiser. Jian notices the look on his face, and a dark aura immediately begins to spread. White Knight quickly shouts that the senior misunderstood his reaction. He explains that he simply wanted to calm his mind and wash his hands before properly appreciating the insights the senior had while creating the masterpiece. This response pleases Jian, who remarks that the kid is not bad. Since he is in a good mood today, Jian asks if White Knight has anything that needs appraising, offering to do it for free. White Knight immediately thanks the man. Huai Jian inspects the equipment and comments that White Knight's strength is good and his luck is even better. Jian then mutters to himself that for 100 gold coins, he has appraised 4 items and actually lost big time. Jian chants a spell, and a golden light reveals the details of the items. The first is the Shadow Boots, which are level 10 dark gold grade plate armor footwear with 200 durability. They require 80 strength and 50 constitution to wear. They provide 75 physical defense, 50 magic defense, 800 health, 20 strength, 20 constitution, 10 agility, and 10% movement speed. The attached skill is Shadow Step, which allows the wearer to fade into shadows, increasing movement speed by 60% and reducing damage taken by 10% for 30 seconds. The system notes that putting them on will automatically teach him the Ghost Step dance. The second item is the Heavy Bone Armor, a level 10 dark gold grade plate armor for the upper body with 3/3 upgrade potential. It requires 100 strength and 80 constitution while providing 180 physical defense, 120 magic defense, 1200 health, 25 strength, and 25 constitution. It also reduces physical damage taken by 100 points. The attached skill is Bone Armor, allowing the wearer to summon bones to arm themselves, which increases the reduction and reflection effects of the armor by 300% for 30 seconds. As part of the bone set, having 1 out of 2 pieces grants a 10% bonus to attack and physical defense. The third item is the Heavy Bone Sword, a level 10 dark gold grade two-handed sword with 3/3 upgrade potential. It requires 120 strength and grants 288 attack and 50 strength while dealing 30% splash damage. Its attached skill is Powerful Strike, which gives attacks a certain chance to trigger triple damage. The final item is the Necklace of the Dead, a level 10 dark gold grade accessory with 200 durability. It requires 100 spirit and provides 80 spell power, 500 health, 1000 mana, 30 spirit, 10 constitution, and 10 agility. Its attacks apply a curse effect, reducing a target's dual defenses by 100 points, and summoned creatures can also trigger this effect. The attached skill is the Dead, a fear-type passive that reduces negative status effects on the wearer by 50%. Huai Jian tells White Knight that in normal times, just one of these would cost 100 gold to appraise, meaning he got a huge bargain. He warns him to keep his bones away and not disturb his sketching again. White Knight asks the senior to wait, which annoys Jian further. Jian asks if he still has dark gold equipment and grumbles about agreeing to appraise things for free. To his shock, White Knight presents an epic grade item. He claims he was just lucky. This item is the Robes of the Dead's Whisper. He thinks that since dark gold appraisal fees are so high, this epic one must be even more expensive, so he must grab this free chance. Jian keeps his word about it being free, but admits his appraisal technique level is too low to appraise such an item. White Knight is stunned, and Jian explains that he is just a Novice Village's part-time appraiser, so it is reasonable that he cannot handle epic grade equipment. White Knight realizes the old man's logic makes sense. Jian then offers to teach him the appraisal technique. White Knight is excited, realizing he will not have to spend money on appraisals in the future, but Jian says he must pay tuition first and raises 5 fingers. White Knight guesses the price is 500 coins. Jian confirms it is 500 ancient gold coins. These were the first batch of coins ever minted and have ceased circulation, but their value to collectors far exceeds ordinary gold. White Knight remembers that when copper coins undergo promotion, they become ancient copper coins, and he has some in his backpack. He wonders if gold coins would also become ancient gold coins if they were promoted. The system notifies White Knight that Jian has added him as a friend. He accepts the hidden mission to collect 500 ancient gold coins for Jian to receive the basic appraisal technique skill. As the old man prepares to leave, White Knight asks him to stay once more. Jian yells in frustration, asking what the kid wants now. White Knight presents a large bag, and Jian's eyes go wide when he sees it is full of ancient coins. White Knight asks if he can be taught the technique now. Jian laughs, saying the good kid really gave him a surprise. White Knight completes the hidden mission and receives the basic appraisal technique skill book. Jian tells him that when he has 10,000 ancient gold coins, he should contact him again for another surprise. White Knight accepts the next hidden mission for 10,000 coins, though the reward is currently unknown. He finds the old man interesting and reflects that a basic technique cannot satisfy him. He uses promotion and obtains the intermediate appraisal technique, earning the title of intermediate appraiser. His proficiency starts at 0. As his proficiency increases, his success rate will slightly improve. For dark gold items, his success rate is 60%, but for epic items it is only 10%. The skill has a 5-second cast time, a 60-second cooldown, and consumes 1,000 mana. He attempts to appraise his epic robe, but the system informs him that the appraisal failed. He notes that with only a 10% probability, his luck might be quite bad. He refuses to believe he will stay unlucky forever and continues to try until the system repeatedly declares that the appraisal has failed. He eventually gives up for the moment. Suddenly, a notification announces he has discovered a wild treasure chest. He reflects that today is full of surprises and thinks that if a high-level monster guards the chest, he has hit the jackpot. He arrives to find the chest guarded by a pack of wolves. He commands his boys to come out and work. His skeletons charge forward and attack the wolves. A massive wolf lets out a howl and many more wolves appear. White Knight realizes he is being ganged up on. He also summons more skeletons and says, "Let's see who has more people." The skeletons engage the pack in a brutal fight, and shortly after they defeat the lead wolf and it falls onto the ground. White Knight mocks the lead wolf, noting that he had not even lined up his main skeletons before the beast was already dead. The system announces he killed a level 10 reinforced elite prairie vicious wolf, gaining 450 experience points. He also killed the level 10 silver grade boss prairie wolf king, earning 36,000 experience points. He receives 1 gold coin and 38 silver coins, along with a level 1 agility gem and a basic skill book. The system congratulates White Knight for reaching level 10, granting him 15 free attribute points. He also becomes the first player in the Blue Star Zone to reach level 10, earning the title far ahead. He wonders if wild treasure chests can be promoted. He tries to use promotion on the chest, and the system announces that the promotion was successful. He can't believe it actually worked. White Knight opens the chest and obtains a gold-grade weapon called the Withered Wood Staff. He also finds a gold-grade treasure map. He reflects that the rewards are a bit sparse with only 2 items, but the map quickly captures his interest. The system explains that following the gold-grade treasure map's guidance will lead him to a gold-grade treasure chest, and asks if he wishes to use the map to mark the hunting route on his system map. Noting the destination coordinates are located outside the novice village. At that moment, the system notifies White Knight that since his level has reached the novice village limit at level 10, he must proceed to his affiliated city. He realizes he will no longer gain experience points if he stays. He decides he will find the village chief first, but determines he should casually promote the treasure map while he is at it. After using promotion, he obtains a dark gold-grade treasure map. The system updates the destination coordinates to the area near Jinxie City to start the treasure hunt. He reflects that this route is far too distant and would require him to go abroad, meaning he cannot reach it for now. Meanwhile, Hantu leads the Hegemony Guild out of the dungeon, as a system announcement confirms they achieved the first clear of the hard difficulty, Land of Mist dungeon. Hantu declares they should get ready to tackle Nightmare difficulty immediately. However, another system notification rings out, congratulating Wealthy World for leading a squad to the first clear of the Nightmare difficulty, Land of Mist dungeon. Hantu is shocked that they actually beat him to it and asks how they cleared Nightmare difficulty so quickly. Wealthy World simply tells him she has good luck. Hantu hears people talking and grows angry, wondering why White Knight sold equipment and skill books only to Wealthy World. He declares that since White Knight dares to go against him, he will definitely make him pay. Wealthy World tells her team to rest for a bit, as they will farm Hell level in a while. Suddenly, a Blue Star Zone announcement congratulates the Divine Dragon Empire player White Knight for becoming the first player in the Blue Star Zone to reach level 10. Because of this, the Novice Village level leaderboard opens. The leaderboard shows White Knight in first place at level 10 with no faction. Maple Leaf Xiaoxiao is second at level 5. Awei is third at level 5. Hard to Wake Up is fourth at level 5. Wealthy World is fifth at level 5. Cotton Candy is sixth at level 5. Grand Hegemony of the Hegemony Guild is 7th, One Sword Seal's Throat is 8th, Turkey Flavor Rice Crust is 9th, and Milky White Snow is 10th. Hantu is visibly angry at these rankings. Cotton Candy tells her boss that White Knight levels up way too fast. Maple Leaf reflects that it is like watching someone ride a rocket, nodding that White Knight was level 8 while they were only level 5 during their trade. Wealthy World decides they should send over the Life Soul Stones now that they have obtained them. She reflects that it is necessary to build a good relationship with someone like White Knight. She tells her team they can move freely while she goes back for a bit. She meets with White Knight and hands over 10 basic Life Soul Stones from the first clear reward. She tells him she hopes he will remember her first if he has good items in the future, promising to satisfy him regarding the price. The system notifies White Knight that his contract with Wealthy World has been fulfilled. White Knight tells her that as long as she has money, there will be no shortage of goods. As he starts walking, he suggests she contact him again once she leaves the Novice Village. White Knight then arrives at a small house, thinking this should be the place. The village chief appears and remarks that he did not expect a descender to reach level 10 so quickly. White Knight tells him he wants to leave the Novice Village. The chief declares that the God-forbidden land will eventually belong to the descenders anyway and tells White Knight to follow him. He leads White Knight to a glowing teleportation circle and explains their village is affiliated with East Sea City. It is one of the 10 great level 1 main cities of the Divine Dragon Empire, and also the most prosperous coastal city in the empire. The chief tells him that arriving at East Sea City is where the real beginning lies. White Knight thanks the chief and promises to return to repay him if fate allows. After he leaves, the chief reflects on the coming chaotic times and wonders how many people will die this time. Elsewhere, Zhao Su asks Ruyan if she thinks White Knight might really be Su Mu Bai. Ruyan declares she does not care who he is. She says that as long as she meets him, he will absolutely not escape her hand. At the same time, White Knight finishes his teleportation to East Sea City. He thinks that this world is way too realistic. He feels a bit disappointed that leaving the Novice Village did not even have a reward. Suddenly, the system notifies him that the Death Scripture has increased to level 10. The Death Scripture is a profession-exclusive special item that cannot be dropped or traded. At level 10, it provides 300 spell power, 100 to all attributes, and increases damage dealt by undead creatures by 100%. The system explains the Soul Siphon special effect, where targets killed by him or his summons have a portion of their soul power absorbed. Wild monsters killed by him have their respawn time doubled, and players killed by him suffer double penalties, including lifespan loss. Opening the second special effect requires 1,000 soul points in level 30. White Knight reflects that a double death penalty and exclusive skills are interesting. He opens the book as a new skill Death Gaze triggers. White Knight groans at the damnably painful feeling of impending death as he learns Death Gaze. This is an SSS rank, level 1 active skill. It deals true damage equal to 50% of spell power per second for 10 seconds. Creatures he gazes upon are continuously affected by fear. Any creature with a life level lower than his will have all attributes forcibly reduced by 20% once they are gazed upon, an effect that ignores all resistance. Furthermore, creatures killed by Death Gaze suffer extreme pain and enter a 40% weakened state for 12 hours after resurrection. The skill is instant cast with a 60-second cooldown and a 100-meter range. White Knight thinks on the true damage per second and the potential for the promotion trait to double the damage and range. He jokingly wonders if staring at people until they die is a bit perverted. Suddenly, someone appears behind him and says that he did not expect a descender to awaken this kind of power. He tells White Knight he is very lucky but also very unlucky. White Knight asks who he is. The man is Sidhu Jai, the city lord of East Sea City and elder of the Divine Dragon Hall. White Knight notes that he is another person so strong he cannot even see their level. White Knight politely greets City Lord Sidhu. Sidhu Jai observes that the young man truly carries the power of death and notes he has officially changed classes to a sovereign class profession. Sidhu remarks that such a profession should not have appeared in the God-forbidden land. White Knight is surprised that Sidhu sees through his hidden profession. Sidhu sighs that it is a pity because when White Knight takes that step, the path will be far more difficult than other sovereign professions. White Knight asks what that means. Sidhu declares that he should consider this a test through him. offering information regarding the Death Sovereign if he succeeds. The system notifies White Knight that he has obtained the quest item Medal of the Forgotten and has accepted the epic grade mission Sidhu's Test. The mission content requires him to clear the Land of the Forgotten and reach 100% exploration rate. White Knight realizes there is no failure penalty and wonders if he just picked up an epic grade mission for free. But as he looks up, Sidhu vanishes, leaving him confused. Suddenly, a 5-minute countdown for teleportation to the Land of the Forgotten begins. White Knight panics, complaining that the system is not giving him any preparation time. He was planning to socket gems into his equipment first. He runs through the area, asking any kind soul to tell him where the teleportation array is located. White Knight enters the Land of the Forgotten. The system reminds him that the epic grade mission has officially started, and he must clear the land within 72 hours while reaching 100% exploration. He decides he better hurry up and summon his minions. Otherwise, he will not feel safe. His skeletons start coming out and he examines his skeleton mage, which has 5080 spirit, 580 agility, and 580 constitution. It has 20,640 HP and 10,160 spell power. Its level 9 fireball skill deals magic damage equal to 220% of its spell power with a 1.5 second cast time. White Knight is pleased, noting that minions with fireball have even fiercer firepower. Out of nowhere, skeletons start coming out from the ground. It is a group of level 20 skeletons with 5,000 HP and 210 attack power. White Knight thinks that even if the whole town turned into skeletons, there could not be this many. He orders all forces to attack. He earns experience points for the kills, noting that these level 20 monsters give as much as 10 wild bison gave. He decides to try his new skill, Death Gaze. As he activates Death Gaze, every skeleton he sees is destroyed because of the massive damage. White Knight notes that although they are skeletons, they possess souls. He tells himself he will not be polite and decides to fill up his mana first. He opens his death scripture and sees that his current soul points are 0. He is confused, thinking he definitely siphoned the souls of the enemies. A voice suddenly echoes, explaining that this is the Land of the Forgotten, where they suffered a curse when they were alive and their souls have been locked there. A figure appears, introducing himself as Road, one of the Forgotten. Road is a level 20 special elite soul form with 100,000 HP who is immune to physical damage. White Knight asks what he means by the curse. Road explains that to acquire souls he must lift the curse. White Knight asks how to do that. Road points toward a glowing light where a chained coffin sits. White Knight thinks the sight is really terrifying. As he gets closer to that coffin, he notices even his skeleton minions are scared. The system explains that a soul-locking coffin is there. It has a shield value of 1 million with 1,000 physical and magic defense. The system informs him that discovering the coffin increased his exploration rate by 2%, and destroying it will increase it by another 3%. However, a warning states that after destroying the coffin, a terrifying existence will be released. Road urges him to destroy it. White Knight commands his minions to smash it for him. The skeletons attack the coffin relentlessly until its HP goes to 0 and it explodes. Road screams that it is coming and the terrifying existence is coming out. A massive chained skeleton emerges. This is Neil, one of the Forgotten. He is a level 20 dark gold grade boss and a half-frost lick with 1,500,000 HP and 12,800 spell power. His skills include Frost Series, Undead Summoning, and Shadow Curse. The system notes he wanted to transform into a lick but obviously failed halfway. Neil roars at the outsider, accusing him of ruining his transformation. Road tells White Knight to run quickly. Neil observes that White Knight's body is filled with a thick death aura and declares that by absorbing the energy in his body, he will definitely succeed in the transformation. White Knight asks who gave him the confidence to say that. He orders his skeleton squad to get him and the skeleton army attacks. They hit Neil but nothing happens and they continue their attack. Neil says his high defense will protect him and believes only a few skeletons popped out. He smashes some skeletons, more arrows fly at him. Neil is shocked when he sees the sheer number of powerful undead creatures White Knight can summon. He activates Frost Shield and calls for his own servants. An abomination appears, a level 20 creature with 150,000 HP and 1,960 attack power. It is joined by ghouls, level 20 creatures with 80,000 HP and 1,580 attack power. White Knight complains about the rotting smell and decides he must let Neil experience his new skill. He activates Death Gaze. The system notes that because his life level is higher than his opponent's, all of Neil's attributes are reduced by 40%. White Knight wonders if the Death Sovereign profession increased his life level. Neil is horrified as his power fades, asking how this is possible. White Knight tells his skeleton squad to take the rotten fish and stinky shrimp and wipe them all out. He then comes near Neil, who is now trembling in fear, and attacks. Neil screams that he cannot be forgotten as he is defeated. White Knight successfully defeats the level 20 dark gold grade boss, the Forgotten Neil. He earns a 50% experience bonus totaling 750,000 points, while the Far Ahead skill provides an additional 150,000 points, propelling White Knight to level 12. Consequently, he gains 1 point for each of his 4 attributes, 1 skill point and 15 free attribute points. He reflects on how the battle concluded so effortlessly. He picks up a dark gold grade item called the Cursed Crown Fragment. This is 1/7 of the pieces needed to repair the dark gold equipment. Once all fragments are collected, the Cursed Crown will mend itself, though it forces the wearer to endure a curse and constant death energy erosion. He feels a bit annoyed, noting that the smaller monsters dropped nothing and the boss was surprisingly stingy, yet he remains determined to gather all the fragments. He realizes that since these are dark gold fragments, the finished item should reach at least epic grade once it is repaired, so for the time being he keeps the piece in his inventory. Suddenly, Road appears directly in front of him, expressing amazement that White Knight managed to grant Neil his release. Road invites White Knight to go kill the next person, then immediately corrects himself, saying they will save the next person instead. Road tells him to follow closely as the next target is just ahead, though he warns it will not be easy this time, and White Knight notes that he did not expect another opponent. He tells Road that if the task is too troublesome, he will not bother going. Road immediately attempts to bribe him by offering a skill book. White Knight asks why he did not present it earlier if he already possessed it. The book contains the C rank, level 1 active skill Corpse Explosion, which allows him to detonate a target corpse or remains to deal magic damage to all enemies within a 5-meter range, though it cannot target boss corpses. The damage equals 10% of the target's maximum HP plus 100% of spell power. The skill has a 30-meter range, is an instant cast with a 30-second cooldown, and costs 300 mana. White Knight recognizes this as a powerful area of effect skill and chooses to promote it immediately. It evolves into the B rank skill Advanced Corpse Explosion, a version that detonates a corpse within a 10-meter range. The damage increases to 15% of the target's maximum HP plus 150% of spell power. The range expands to 50 meters with an instant cast and a 30-second cooldown, and the mana cost rises to 600. He tests the ability on an enemy. The resulting explosion covers a massive area. He is amazed at how the power is much stronger and the range wider than he anticipated. Road continues to praise him, but White Knight ignores the nonsense, feeling satisfied to finally have a reliable AoE skill. He considers that his speed for grinding monsters will increase significantly now. 1 hour later, he says that the Land of the Forgotten is quite big and eventually encounters the Forgotten Walter. This marks his 7th opponent. White Knight uses Advanced Corpse Explosion on the target. Walter refuses to go quietly, threatening that White Knight will eventually pay the price before he falls. Upon death, Walter drops loot. White Knight has now gathered exactly 7 Cursed Crown fragments and begins to synthesize the equipment. Road suddenly shouts for him to stop, warning that the cursed thing will erode his body, but the fragments are already forming into a crown. White Knight asks Road what kind of nonsense he is talking about, while Road watches the crown form with fear and declares it is already too late. The system notifies White Knight that he has obtained the legendary grade item, Cursed Crown. The fragments have successfully fused together and repaired the equipment, and his current exploration rate for the region reaches 50%. As he expected, promoting the fragments increased the final item's grade by 1 tier. However, the 50% exploration rate suggests other monsters still remain in the area. Road urgently demands that White Knight throw the crown away immediately, warning that the death energy will erode him until he becomes a walking corpse while White Knight stands in a daze. Road yells again for him to discard it quickly. The system then notifies White Knight that he has suffered death energy erosion from the cursed crown. However, his stored death energy has already hit its limit. He can only absorb more after consuming his current supply, so the excess energy has no negative effect on him. Suddenly, the ground begins to vibrate. White Knight snaps back to attention and wonders if a truly terrifying enemy has appeared, so he commands his skeleton squad to take a defensive stance. A faint white light leaks from the earth. Road instantly recognizes the presence and his face fills with terror. A red coffin with gold edges rises from the ground. The system notifies him that the aura of the cursed crown has awakened the forgotten Franklin, a lick who is slumbering beneath the land of the forgotten. Road screams that Franklin is the one who cursed them all and turned this place into the land of the forgotten. Road begs White Knight to help him kill the monster Franklin, promising to pay any price. White Knight realizes this NPC has become a companion to him and promises to help. He views Road's status and sees he was the mayor of Sunset Town, and only a remnant of his soul remains. He is a level 20 special elite soul form with 100,000 HP. His skill is Soul Possession, which boosts a target's main attribute by 20%, as Road has finally recovered his memories. White Knight accepts the unique hidden mission, Road's request. The objective is to kill the forgotten Franklin for an unknown reward, and he receives the Soul Possession buff, increasing his spirit attribute by 20%. Road thanks White Knight and vows to fight alongside him with all his power. The forgotten Franklin appears as a level 20 Frost Lick. Because he is in a severely injured state, his level is reduced, but he remains an epic grade boss with 15 million HP and 48,000 spell power. His physical defense is 5,000 while his magic defense is 8,000. His resistances are incredibly high, including 95% against ice and 25% against death. He is a true lick, and even with a damaged soul, he is extremely dangerous. Franklin is surprised that Rhodes survived. He senses the power of the repaired cursed crown and commands the crown to return to its rightful master. To his shock, the item does not respond. White Knight tells him there is no reason for the item in his hand to listen to his summons. The Cursed Crown is a legendary grade item for levels 10 to 120 with 1000 durability. While the normal requirement is the Forgotten Franklin, the Death Sovereign profession allows White Knight to ignore this and forcefully equip it. Once the opponent is killed, the restriction returns to normal. It provides 100 physical defense, 200 magic defense, 2000 HP, 4000 mana, and 75 to all attributes. White Knight puts the crown on, which grants a 10% spirit bonus and 30% curse resistance. Its passive skill, Power of Curse, causes all of his spells to apply 2 random curses to targets for 5 seconds, and the second skill, Curse Aura, reduces the speed, attack speed, and casting speed of all enemies within 100 meters by 30% while consuming 200 mana per second. Franklin immediately summons his Shadow Knights. These level 20 creatures have 200,000 HP and 6,800 attack. White Knight thinks that an epic grade boss has a much stronger army than a dark gold one. He chooses to deal with the underlings first and orders his skeleton squad to charge. The skeleton warriors strike the Shadow Knight's horses while the archers rain arrows down. White Knight activates his Curse Aura. Their speed immediately drops by 30%. He mocks them, saying that at this speed even a car would crawl like a snail. Franklin curses in anger. White Knight feels satisfied. He is now level 15, equipped with 2 legendary items, and the Death Scripture has boosted his attributes significantly. Compared to when he first arrived in the Land of the Forgotten, his stats have nearly doubled, though it is a pity the Cursed Crown cannot be promoted further. Franklin warns him that he is courting death. White Knight tells him he will not give him a chance to breathe and uses Death Gaze on Franklin. The system notifies that White Knight's life level is superior. As a result, he applies the Agony Curse, dealing shadow damage equal to 100% of his spell power every second for 5 seconds. Franklin collapses to his knees, his mind unable to grasp how his power has been surpassed. He trembles and asks exactly who he is, but White Knight looks down at him and declares that his name is something the Lick does not need to know. This cold dismissal enrages Franklin, who screams that a wretched human has no right to insult a great Lick. He vows that regardless of who his opponent is, he will be interred in the Land of the Forgotten this very day. A violent tornado of dark energy erupts from Franklin's chest as he demands the human's death, intending to seize the boy's power for himself and commanding his greatest servant to emerge. He summons the undead bone dragon Cacus. Though the beast is in a heavily injured state that has reduced its level to 20, the system still identifies it as an epic grade boss. It possesses a staggering 20 million health points and an attack power of 12,000, while its defenses are equally high, with physical defense at 10,000 and magic defense at 6,000. And the system notifies White Knight that the arrival of Cacus has brought his exploration rate to 90%. White Knight realizes that Franklin actually possessed the power to summon a bone dragon and reflects on the test provided by the City Lord of East Sea City, acknowledging that the difficulty is truly as brutal as he expected. Cacus exhales a blazing breath of energy directly at him. His skeleton warriors immediately move to form a defensive wall, successfully intercepting the attack. Franklin is stunned, unable to believe that simple skeleton warriors could block the attack of his bone dragon. The system informs White Knight that he has consumed all his death energy points to reinforce a skeleton warrior, which boosts all its attributes by 640%. Even as he suffers death energy erosion from the Cursed Crown, his death energy points increase by 10, and he reflects on how the crown has become a walking power bank for him. He is excited to demonstrate the extent of his power and pushes Franklin back, making the Lick become furious and shout at White Knight for using his crown against him. Franklin unleashes a spell called Frost Hell and attacks White Knight, with the strike successfully hitting its mark this time. The Lick bursts into loud laughter after firing the death ray, fully expecting a fragile human body to die instantly. But White Knight is unharmed, and Franklin realizes that something is wrong as he understands that the human has learned life sharing. But he sneers that the skill is not without its flaws. Franklin immediately casts Death and Decay, following it with a bone prison that traps the boy in place. He then releases Bone Spike Hell, sending jagged spikes erupting from the ground to shred White Knight's minions. White Knight realizes the Lick is using AoE attacks specifically to break the life-sharing link by killing all his summons at once. To prevent this, he recalls the unreinforced skeletons to the summon space and reflects that now Franklin will not be able to break the link. He orders his remaining forces to capture the leader, knowing that if the leader falls, the rest will follow. Franklin is startled when a skeleton warrior suddenly closes the distance, and he begins dealing continuous damage to it, while White Knight commands his minion to endure the assault. Though the skeleton is eventually torn into pieces, the Lick declares that the wretched human has lost. White Knight simply replies that he must be kidding and sends another skeleton, while the system notifies him that he has consumed more death energy points to reinforce a new skeleton. Franklin grows frightened as the reinforced warrior approaches him again, finding that he cannot move from his position. The skeleton strikes, delivering a final blow that shatters the Lick. The system announces that White Knight has killed Franklin, granting a 70% experience bonus for a total of 12.75 million points, an advancement that pushes him to level 17 and gives him 1 point to all attributes plus 15 free points. Simultaneously, he defeats the undead bone dragon Cacus and earns another 70% bonus, receiving 25 million experience points to reach level 19 with another 15 free attribute points. Meanwhile, a system-wide announcement declares that White Knight is the first player in the Blue Star Zone to solo kill an epic grade boss, rewarding him with 100 points to his main attribute, 50 skill points, and 50 intermediate life soul stones. He is impressed with his own progress. He checks the stones and realizes he no longer needs to worry about his lifespan, so he promotes the rewards into advanced life soul stones, which increase lifespan by 1 year per absorption. After consuming all 50, his lifespan reaches 51 years, and his lifespan crisis is finally solved. In the novice village, Wealthy World realizes they must cling to White Knight as tightly as possible. Somewhere else, after seeing the announcement, Zhao Su tells Liu Ruyan that they need to leave the novice village immediately to meet this White Knight. While Liu Ruyan acknowledges that he is powerful but remains confident, declaring that as long as he is a man, whether he is White Knight or Su Mu Bai, he will fall for her charms. White Knight obtains the epic grade special item, the Dragon Skull Pendant. He reflects on how awesome this pendant is, realizing he can ride an epic grade flying mount, so he decides to use promotion on it again, and the system confirms the success. He obtains the legendary grade special item, the Frost Horn, knowing that by blowing it, he will obtain a legendary grade mount from the Undead realm, a Frost Dragon. He blows the horn and notes a dense aura of death appearing. The Frost Dragon appears and calls him a foolish human, noting that the one who summoned it is incredibly weak. A light of purification suddenly appears and he tells it not to touch him, but the Frost Dragon addresses him as master and declares it is willing to become his mount. Consequently, White Knight's mount space is unlocked, and he obtains the legendary grade mount, Frost Dragon. A Blue Star Zone announcement congratulates the Dragon God Empire player, White Knight, for obtaining a mount, while White Knight notices the Frost Dragon shrinking and the Blue Star Zone mount leaderboard is now open, making him wonder if mounts even have a leaderboard and skills. He checks the stats for his first place mount, which is a God tier advancement class at level 0, noting its maximum level cannot exceed the player's level by 10, its loyalty is 100 and it provides a 200% movement speed bonus. Meanwhile, its health is 1 million and grows with its level, and it has 20,000 mana and 80,000 spell power alongside 10,000 physical defense and 12,000 magic defense, while its elemental resistances include 80% ice, 70% water, 60% dark, and 40% others. Furthermore, its skills include Frost Dragon Breath, Dragon Might, and Size Reduction, and upon reaching a certain level, it will automatically comprehend more skills, as Frost Dragon Breath deals ice damage equal to 300% of spell power per second to targets within a 5-meter radius while applying slowing effects. Dragon Might covers all creatures within 1,000 meters to reduce attributes by 10% to 20% for those with lower life levels. And Size Reduction can facilitate combat or entry into inaccessible places, leaving White Knight wondering if this is the power of a mythical grade creature. In the distance, other players are shocked to see a mount leaderboard, with one player exclaiming that White Knight actually has a mythical grade Frost Dragon, while another suspects that White Knight is not even playing the same game as them. Someone else tells the others not to compare themselves to White Knight, mentioning he just saw his boss, who is only level 3 with an F-rank talent, which makes the others feel much better and agree that he is right. White Knight is interrupted when Rode shouts that he has sensed the location of the phylactery. White Knight asks where it is, and Rode tells him it is right over there and to follow him. They arrive at Franklin's phylactery, an epic-grade item with 1 million durability that the system explains was a life-saving item crafted with all of Franklin's effort during his peak to house his soul fire. As long as the phylactery is not destroyed, the lick will not die. White Knight reflects on how it has 1 million durability. But Rode declares he wants to finish off this guy himself, while Franklin's voice laughs from the object and asks what a mere remnant soul can do to him. Rode uses his power and tells Franklin that the clansman he devoured will tell him what his fate will be, shouting that Franklin's time to die has come as Franklin screams in terror while the item is destroyed. White Knight watches as the boss is finally finished. Rode thanks White Knight for everything he has done for Sunset Town. The system notifies him that he obtained 1,000 soul points, and White Knight is credited for killing the soul of the level 20 epic boss, the Forgotten Franklin, gaining an extra 70% experience bonus, and reaching level 20 with increased attributes and 15 free points. Furthermore, he completes the hidden mission, Rode's Request, obtaining 10 million experience and 1,000 gold coins as his exploration rate reaches 100%. And he finishes the epic grade mission, Sidujai's Test, which grants him 1,200 gold coins, 20 level 5 attribute gems, 10 epic grade Millennium Ice crystals, and 24 basic Destiny Soul stones as he notes his level is now 20. He arrives at the East Sea City Teleportation Plaza and notes there is still not a single player in the city, as it seems none of them have reached level 10 yet. White Knight decides he will test out his mount first. He calls for the Frost Dragon to come forth, and his little dragon jumps forward and it transforms into a massive dragon. White Knight declares it is time to find Sidujai and turn in the mission. White Knight flies through the sky on his mount. Sidujai watches this and tells the little guy that he has far exceeded expectations. White Knight greets the city lord. Sidujai tells Mubai to make his little pet shrink because his place cannot handle it, so White Knight makes the Frost Dragon small. Sidujai observes that White Knight's profession is not as simple as just a sovereign-class profession, making White Knight ask what he means and wonder if there is a difference among sovereign-class professions, though Sidujai says he is not entirely clear himself, but will answer some questions since the test is complete. He completed the epic grade mission, Sidujai's Test, yet White Knight thinks Sidujai is quite stingy because there are not any immediate mission rewards visible. Sidujai explains that in the myriad worlds, professions are divided into tiers, listing normal, hidden, advanced hidden, unique hidden, and finally exclusive hidden professions, noting that White Knight's Death Sovereign is the highest tier. Sidujai notes there is no way for a player to reach the highest tier at White Knight's current stage, because only at level 29 do they have a chance for a breakthrough, which puzzles him. While White Knight thinks to himself that he cannot tell Sidujai it is because of his substitute system. Sidujai warns him not to rejoice too early, as the stronger the profession the harder it is to break through, so White Knight requests guidance and Sidujai says that for the Death Sovereign profession to advance, it must experience enough death. He reveals that in the near future, a great war is destined to erupt in the God-forbidden land, and the Divine Dragon Hall hopes White Knight will go to various nations to advance and conquer those lands. As Sidujai wonders if the human race will truly have the qualifications to set foot into the myriad worlds, he notes that the national borders have not opened yet. Sidujai tells him to find a certain person and give him a letter, saying this person will give him a treasure that can cross national borders. He looks at a photo of Hue Wen and wonders about him while White Knight signs a contract with the Divine Dragon Hall, though the system warns that in the future he can only advance in other nations and will be hunted down if he violates the contract. He is told that once he reaches the third tier, Sidujai will recommend him to join the Divine Dragon Hall. Sidujai gives him an item that will provide unimpeded access throughout East Sea City, and he thanks the city lord. White Knight obtains the East Sea Token 7, a special item personally crafted by Sidujai, and realizes possessing it makes him the master of Courtyard number 7 in East Sea City, which means he now owns a house in a Tier 1 city.